go and install this. This is a little one. I think it's 90 bucks. These stupid... So, I've been talking about this for a long time, and I'm glad I waited, because the longer I waited, the more I figure out, and new products have come out. I'd intended to create this package probably a year ago. So fast forward, today is June something, I don't even know what day it is, in 2019. And I've got ScanGrip products in the OG store, and I'm going to take you through which ones, why, and what you might want. I don't think you want all of this stuff, so I'm gonna take you through that. So I think about these things. Of course, these are systems or tools that you can use when polishing your car. I mean, that's really what this is intended to be used for. But I use these lights because I don't polish as often as I work on cars. I use these different various lights to work on the car much more than I use them to polish. But when I am polishing, I'm going to show you which ones make sense and which don't. But this video here today is designed to take us through from start to finish, each light, what I know about it, what my thoughts are on it, what my experience has been with it. This will probably be a long video, and then what I'll likely do is create a separate video that gives you, these are the lights that I think you want. And then I'll probably split up and create a separate Fenix flashlight video as well. So I'm going to go from left to right, and then behind me work on some of the line light stuff and take you through each one, and then hopefully give you some input. I wouldn't call myself an expert on these because this is the newer line of products, but I have been using them for a little while. I've been reading the catalog, and so I know a little bit about the stuff. So first thing I'll mention on all of these, and this can go for overhead lighting as well, not all CRI specs are created equally, right? So there are 15 different R values that are used to measure the full spectrum of light. And so when you see some inexpensive big box store a light that has a CRI of 98 or something ridiculous, you don't know what the average is. Is it the average of 4 R values? Is it the average of 8 R values? Is it the average of 15 R values? And so that CRI spec I would use it very loosely. And one of the most important R values is I think it's R9, the red value, and that's a really tough color to make accurate. These lights do a great job at that. These ScanGrip lights are giving you a true, they call it CRI plus, a true R15 average. So they're giving you an average of the 15 R values to give you a true CRI number. And I'm not even going to go over the CRI specs. I haven't memorized them because it really is irrelevant. All of these LEDs are best in class. So let's start on the left here. So let's talk about, this isn't a ScanGrip product, this is a Fenix product. This is the flashlight that I carry around pretty much everywhere I go. It comes with a little pouch, which I usually don't use. It comes with a strap, which I oftentimes take off. But this particular flashlight is what I use. This is the This is the humbler. This will humble you when you're polishing. So you use this thing, and when you're checking your work after polishing, wipe down with some alcohol or a Carpro eraser or some Geon Prep or something like that, and you come back and you use this light to inspect. This will really tell you how you're doing. This also serves, like, this is the flashlight I have around the house. So I have a couple here at HQ. I have a couple at home, and this is the light that I use when I'm working on the car. I use pretty much anytime I need a flashlight. This one's a little special, and then this one has the Obsessed Garage insignia on it. So because I could, I had them engrave or laser, I guess it's laser etch the Obsessed Garage logo on the light. So Fenix has dozens and dozens of different options. And then even this light, this is called the PD35 tactical version, or PD35 TAC. I was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on the tactical versus the PD35 2.0. You know, which one do you choose and why? They're so similar. They do pretty much the same thing. There is a difference in the modes that they offer. So I ended up finally choosing the tactical version because when you turn the light on, and I'll have a separate video on all the details on how this works, but when you turn the light on, you have different output modes. So I have from whatever the Eco, there's 5 modes, 2, 3, 4, 5, turbo mode. So the tactical version will jump from its high output mode to its turbo mode, jumps from 500 to 1,000. The PD35 2.0 goes from, I believe it's 350 to 1,000. So I made the final decision because I like that. I like the graduation of outputs more on the tactical version. The main difference in tactical version is you end up with this strobe option, which you don't get on the 35 2.0, which of course most of us aren't going to need. But this does give you some various modes, which again we'll go through on a specific video for this flashlight. It's made out of aluminum, lightweight. The flashlight doesn't come with batteries, and so in our various kits, I've set it up to where it comes. I have it come with a charger and then a single battery. I have the option to do multiple batteries, but I supply the biggest option, which is the 3,500 milliamp hour battery, which is charged via this ARE A2. I think the batteries are about 20. They're 22, 23 bucks today in mid-2019. The chargers are about 25 bucks, and the flashlights are 72, like 71.95. And so I'll make sure that you don't end up with a flashlight without a battery, because it doesn't come with a battery. So you need to make sure that you purchase one. Really amazing light, fits in your pocket well. This is the light I almost always have in my pocket when I'm polishing, and then of course to use around the house, depending on what task I'm working on. Usually use it in turbo mode, will last several hours, charges in 3 hours or so. It's probably a good idea to have an extra battery that you can swap out. Keep one on the charger, keep one in the flashlight. But I find I go months between actually needing to charge. So that's the Fenix PD35 2.0. So then we have ScanGrip versions of flashlights, and I think it still makes sense to own a PD35 and one of the pen lights. I've never been a big fan. The ScanGrip makes the Rupes version of this light and various other versions of it, but this is their what they call their match pen. This is a single color temp light. I believe this one is 4,000 Kelvin. So this is 4,000 K, so it's on the yellow side. This has an option to adjust the output or adjust the angle from 10 degrees all the way up to, I believe it's 75 degrees. So this has quite a bit of angle adjustment. I don't foresee you using the wider angle very much when polishing, but so most of the time you're probably going to want to go pinpoint accurate down to 10 degrees. But this particular light doesn't have a lot of features to it. It just works. Just at 4,000 Kelvin. I think it's 59 bucks, so relatively inexpensive. But again, I've never been a big fan. I know this has kind of become the standard in detailing, but I prefer the Fenix light or the new Match Pen R. So in my kit, I don't even have one of these lights. I never use it. I always use the Match Pen R. This one is rechargeable, so when we open up the the lens here, there's a little place to plug in our USB charger. So we plug in our charger so it has a rechargeable battery. This one also has 2 color modes, so we simply hold the button down to swap between I believe it's 6500K or 4500K. And you see the LED change position because there are actually, you can't probably see this very well, but there are 2 separate LEDs. So we swap from 4500 to 6500. This one doesn't have quite as much of a wide spectrum. So this one goes from, I believe it's 10 degrees up to 45 degrees. So it's a little bit tighter pattern, which I find more useful when I'm using to find scratches and swirls. So this also feels a little bit more stout. I mean, these are both have a I believe it's an aluminum body, much like the Fenix light, both super lightweight. And I know it may not make a lot of sense to you, but I like having both of these. And I like this one for its adjustability and this light for its output. I like having both in my cabinet. This one obviously more dedicated toward polishing, and then this light for jack of all trades can do a lot of different things. So those are our match pens. Then we go to the overhead light, and this is something I also highly recommend. This is the what do they call it? The iMatch 2. So this is their second version. This particular light, obviously designed for your head, gives you several different options. So I have the option to keep in standard manual mode, where I reach and I touch the button, and I turn from 50% to 100%. So 50% brightness. Obviously, the battery is going to last longer. It has also a USB charger, or I can go 100% output and have it charge, or have it. Actually, my battery just died. Shoot. Yep, figures. I didn't charge it. So I have the option also to switch. There are 2 LEDs on here to switch between 6500 and 4500. And then this also has the option to turn on an auto mode, where if I wave my hand twice, it'll turn on. So when I have it overhead, the only thing you have to be careful with is if you wave something back in front of you, it'll turn off. But let's say I'm working on the car and I don't want it on because I'm talking to somebody, and I turn this way, I do a double wave and the light turns on. So it does have a sensing mode as well, which is really neat. And this thing isn't all that expensive. I think it's 89 bucks. Really, really great, high quality light. It's rubberized and again, rechargeable. So we charge via USB charger on the bottom here. So this light is super slick, pretty cheap for what you get. That's what I found is that, I mean, in the beginning when ScanGrip came out, you know, I had version 1 of this stuff, and then I had version 2, and now a lot of these are on version 3. So I've had pretty much every one that they brought to the US, and I found that the pricing has continued to fall. So the pricing has come down and the technology has improved. So that's been really, really cool to see. But I will tell you that, you know, a lot of these lights are unnecessary. We'll talk about it as we get there. So we've already eliminated one in this makeup here of what I might suggest you skip, unless you're just a baller and can have it all. But there are some as we get further down the line that probably aren't necessary. So then we have the Sun Match lights, or the Mini Match and the Sun Match 3. So this is iteration number 3 of the Sun Match version. I've had version 1, version 2, and now I have version 3. And at first, when I saw these at SEMA last year, I really liked the Mini Match. I like this because of how small it is. It's lightweight. It's a little bit more compact. Now the Sun Match 3 is a little bit slimmer than the original Sun Match was a little bit fatter. Both of them have magnets that are really useful. So you could attach it to the side of the car and really, set up however you want. They also both have a hook which you can hang on stuff. And this hook is, 360 degrees, so you can hang it from, somewhere on the car, I guess you can hang it. But it has a little hook. And then they both have a button on the back. So this is how we turn the lights on. So you'll notice they both have similar output. But the main difference is that if you hold the button down, there's an indicator on the back here. And this indicator indicates your color temperature. So as I hold the button down, I can switch from 2500 Kelvin all the way up to 6500 in a graduated fashion. So I have 5 different modes on the SunMatch 3. The other cool thing about the SunMatch 3 is that you do have the light on the top. So there's a single color temp, I believe it's 4000K, might be 4500K on the top. So I can switch from top light to side light. I've got, of course, my ability to adjust the magnet, which is the magnets on these ScanGrip lights are amazing. So this thing gives me many more options for not a lot more money over the Mini Match. The Mini Match only has 2 modes, 4500 and 6500. And then both of them have the option to switch brightness output. So I can go from 50% to or 100%. Obviously, when you're at 100% output, you're going to end up with a less battery life. This one also, because the LED is quite a bit different. This one has an overheat mode where it will go to 50% brightness after, I think it's a long period. I think it's like 3 hours or something like that. If it overheats, it'll automatically sense and dial itself back. The Mini Match just plugs into a USB, whereas the SunMatch 3 has the charging base. So you can use the charging base for the SunMatch 3, so it has something to stand on. I found that this thing just kind of gets in the way, but you know, if I have a choice between the two, I'm going to choose the SunMatch 3. And I think pricing, the SunMatch or the Mini Match is 89 bucks and the SunMatch 3 is 149 bucks. So pretty significant price difference. But I think having the top light and having the adjustability of color temps. Of course, you know, if I have a black car, I'm going to want a bluer light, you know, so 6500K. If I've got a white car, I'm going to want a yellower light, so maybe down to 2500. If I've got something in between, I may want to do, you know, some in-between color temp like 3500 or 4500, something like that. So these, I think, are super cool because, I mean, they do fit in your pocket. And you can pull it out whenever you're ready to inspect. So having these different combinations, just depending on what you're doing, again, we're getting into luxuries here. So if I had a choice between one of these and one of these, I think I would choose a flashlight, just more accessible. These become more of a luxury. I don't like to polish with the headlamp, so this I'm using mainly when I'm working in like the footwell of the car or changing pedals or something like that. Working down the line, this is my favorite thing that they've done, and I've had all of these. And I love these type of lights in theory, but in practice, here's what happens. This is a lot like an iPad for me. You know, Apple comes out with a new whatever iPad Air or iPad Pro or iPad 19, and every time they come out with one, I just want it. I want to have it. I think it's just one of those things. I'm like, man, I could do so much cool stuff with that. It's kind of like these giant lights. It's like I'll set them up, you get them, and I'll get the tripod with the wheels on it. I'll roll it around the car, and I'll have perfect lighting. I'll be able to see exactly what I need to see. And what happens is I set the thing up in the corner of the car. I start polishing the fender, and I have the lights perfectly set up, because these lights aren't, especially the ones with the convex iris, like the SunMatch 3s. I mean, notice you're always seeing me when I turn these lights on, I'm always doing this. These lights aren't designed to be, you know, facing right from your eyes. You're designed to use so you can see what's going on with the paint. So these lights, again, aren't designed to illuminate the room. They're designed for you to catch the reflection. So you have to make sure they're positioned properly. And so when you put it on a tripod, you set it up, I get it all positioned properly, I start polishing. Next thing I know, 2 hours later, I'm in the back left corner of the car, and the lights are still in the front right corner of the car. And so I found myself not wanting to get these out of the case, out of the cabinet. And so that's why I like this option. This is called the Multimatch R. A couple of reasons why I like this over some of the previous versions. It's still tripod mountable, so I can still put it on either a double mount or the top, so I can do a single mount tripod. I can hold it in my hand. It actually has little finger grips here. My hand's a little big for that, but I can hold it in my hand. So if I'm using this device, hold it in my hand and I can kind of move it around. It's not super comfortable in your hand. I'd probably be inclined to hold it like this. But if you did have the right size or smaller hand, it probably would work a little better. But the main thing I like about this is I can take this and magnetically mount it to something. Obviously wouldn't magnetically mount it to the car, but I could take and mount it to my workbench or my cabinets or anything else that is magnetic. And the magnets on these things are pretty incredibly stout, but they're designed that when you twist, so if you try to pull straight, it takes a lot of force, but if I do any kind of twist, I can pop it loose very, very comfortably. And so this particular light here, it does lack a lot of some of the features that the others do, but it has 5 color temp modes, 25, 35, 45, 55, and 6500. And then it does have 10, 25, 50, 75, and 100% output options. And to simply switch modes, all I do is so if I have, when I turn it on, if the light is on 25, I can hit the plus button to change my color temp. And if I want to go to my output setting change, I simply hold the button down and I go 10, 25, 50, 75, 100. And it gives me a spec there that tells me how many hours it should last on the various light output options. But you can see, I mean, this sucker's got some pretty serious output at such a little device. And then it charges with a little USB charger, just like the sun matches do. So if I have a choice of big versus little, I'm going to choose this. And so I buy an iPad, I get all excited about it. I spend 3 hours getting all the apps set up, updating all the software. I've done this 3 times in my life. And I put the iPad down on my little charging area where I have my MacBook Pro. And it sits there, and it sits there, and it sits there. And then I think about getting it out, but it sits there some more, and then I end up selling it. I've done this 3 or 4 times in my life. And same thing happens to me with the bigger versions of these. Now I've had the D-Match 2, the 2-in-1s, the Multi-Match, so I've had all the different various versions. I'm excited about this one because it's less expensive at 150 bucks. It's a nice size, it's tripod mountable. So if I have the choice of one of the big expensive multi-match like the 3 or the 8, I'm gonna choose this. And it just becomes more useful. I think you're probably still gonna end up using these lights much, much more than you will this. But if you have to have it and you're fortunate enough, I am gonna include it in my package. I think that this is something that you're going to want. All right. I think this is something you're going to want if, again, money's no object. But I would rather have this than one of the big ones. We'll get into the bigger ones in a second here. So those are like the simple, less costly versions of the ScanGrip, and then we get into the big stuff. And there's various accessories for these, and I made a mistake already, and so hopefully I'm falling on the sword for you on these options. The mistake I made is I bought the chargers, but these come with a charger, so there's no reason to buy the charger. So let's start with Multimatch 3. So if you're talking about light output, don't quote me on these, I think this is right, 1200 lumens, the Multimatch 3 is 3000 lumens, the Multimatch 8 is 8,000 lumens. They all have they all have different LED and probably different LED output, different transformer, different capability. They take different batteries. The Multimatch R is an internal battery. The Multimatch 3 and 8 have external batteries. The 3 has a 4 amp hour battery, and the Multimatch 8, the big one, has a 8 amp hour battery. And so one mistake I made, I just didn't read the instructions very well. I didn't read the box, but these come with a charger. So it comes with the Multi-Match 3, comes with the 35-watt charger, which looks like so. The charger serves as a battery charger, so I can go plug it into the wall. Has a little LED indicator. These aren't particularly sophisticated. It doesn't give you any percentage, so it doesn't tell me what percent it's charged. It just goes green when it's charged. But also serves as a plug-in. So here's how the battery works. Battery's here, it locks in. Really nice quality and really genius design. And then we have our option to go and install this and then make it plug-in. So we can do both plug-in and battery. So the differences between the two are mainly size and output. So the Multi-Match 3 and 8 both have 5 output modes, color temp output modes. I'll show you that here in a second. I'm making a mess. So they both go from 2500 up to 6500 Kelvin. The main difference between the two is going to be total light output. This has the ability to go up to, if we change our percentage output, up to 100%, 100% at 3000 lumens. So again, these do have the ability to light a room better than the small one. But again, the purpose of these lights, the purpose is not to light the room, it's to light a specific area. You'll notice these have pretty hefty heat sinks on the back. Both of these, this one's actually rather heavy. So you have some pretty stout heat sinks on the back of these. I mean, you can just see the size of the convexity, or the size of the lens on the front of these versus the little one. The 3 and 8 do not come with a magnetic base. So in their genius design, the ScanGrip people have come out with these magnetic bases. Let me set these aside, I keep knocking these over. They made some magnetic wall mount type bases that allow you to mount our systems. If I can get it off, as you can see, they're pretty stout. So they have these that allow you to swivel and mount to the mounting bracket or mounting system here on the backs of these of the Multi-Match 3 and the Multi-Match 8. So this same mounting point allows you to use either the double magnet, the signal magnet, or the tripod, which we'll show in a second here. So the small single magnet is really designed for the 3. So what I do is I take my pin, I put it through, and I can take and mount the system to whatever metal device I have. The other sort of genius thing, we're trying to figure out how to get this thing off. It's the same thing as the R, but if I put this magnet down and I try to pull this straight, it's not coming off. And so, but if I take and twist, so if I turn it, and we're of course on a big hunk of steel here, but if I take this and turn it, oops, or pull it this way, it actually comes off rather easily. Guys have to just come up with some pretty genius stuff. And then it's, both of these give us the ability to swivel. You can also swivel these magnets depending on what type of mounting you're doing. So the double is designed for the big one. The single is designed for this. And neither one of these actually fit. It doesn't line up. These magnets. It doesn't actually line up. We figured this out with the Multi-Match. So if you're going to buy the Multi-Match R, make sure you don't buy the magnetic brackets because they won't fit. They won't work. It doesn't. This angle is off, and it doesn't work. So again, if you want to buy these, I have them. I didn't buy a lot of them, but these I just don't think are necessary. So these are the iPads of polishing lighting. I mean, I guess if you were setting up a really sophisticated professional shop, maybe you would set these up, mount them to the wall, hardwire them. I just can't see a need for setting these up in your polishing bay. Even higher volume polishing, I mean, the battery system is really great, really nice, really high quality. I'm assuming the batteries last a while. I haven't really used these very much, and I want these so badly. They're Bluetooth capable as well. I've actually downloaded the app on my phone, which I don't really use, but you can control these bigger ones via the ScanGrip app. So you can connect them via Bluetooth and control the output, so that way you don't have to get up. But remember, in order to make these lights work properly, you've got to move them around. You got to move them and position them properly so you're catching the right reflection. And that's why I always come back to these handheld lights, because I like to be able to maneuver this. And then having the smaller version where I can put it wherever I need to makes sense. So supporting things, the only real supporting thing that I would buy for this system would be the tripod. So this is the dual arm. So this is optional. The dual arm I think is like 20 bucks, 25 bucks or something like that. So I can go single. So the tripod comes without this on it. So it comes like this. And the way this system works, you can take any of these. I put my threaded area through it. And I have this big, heavy, stout tripod for my little multi-match R, but this works in any form or fashion you want. You can mount it like so. You could also flip it and mount it facing. If you needed a steeper angle, you could mount it like this. I don't know why you would want to do that, but you could. So you can mount it either way. And you have the option to add, again, this dual arm. If you wanted to do two of them, you have dual arms you can mount on top of the tripod, and you can mount it in any of these, 4 ways that the arm goes. The tripod goes up to, I think it's maximum height is 10 feet. So it'll go 10 feet in height, and also holds the big ones as well. So same type of mounting position on the big SunMatch 3 and SunMatch 8. So here's the system. So in theory, again, I set my car up. I've got this thing all ready to go. I set my car up in position. In theory, you would want wheels on this so I can roll it around. And I had the wheeled version of the tripod, but I punted it in the trash. So it's just not very good. So I'm not even going to carry the wheeled version. You can get it if you want. I would suggest if you're going to do the tripod, get this one. Again, if I have a choice, I'm not buying the tripod at all. I've got 2 of them, and I'm telling you, it's like my iPad. It just sits on the darn counter. It sits in the cabinet. I'm always trying to figure out where to put this stupid tripod. So, if you're asking for my advice, it's great. It's amazing. And even if you're a pro, I wouldn't buy it if I were you. But if you're a baller, it's cool. I like having an iPad, just in case I get on a United flight and they don't have a darn screen on there. But I'm not getting on a Southwest flight, so we don't have to worry about that. I give all my Southwest miles to Chris. He'll fly Southwest. So anyway, I would stay away from the wheeled version. I like the regular tripod if you have to get a tripod. So that's the main line, and you also have the option to buy the kits. So what this kit includes is, so this is the little mini kit or the essentials kit. This kit doesn't come with one of the flashlights, which I think is a mistake. I would want a flashlight in it. Comes with the headlamp, comes with the mini match, comes with the multi-match R, and a fancy little bag. The bag costs you $2. So if you weren't, and I went and added this up, so you add in the multi-match R, the charger, the or the mini match, the charger, and the headlamp and the charger, you end up at I think this is $3.99. I think it's $3.97. So you get this nifty little bag, which is nice. They don't, as far as I know, at this point, they don't sell the bag separately, but you get all your little parts and pieces in here with this kit. So I will stock the kit, but I'm gonna make a suggestion differently. Again, I'm gonna do in a separate video, creating the OG lighting package of exactly what I would buy if I were you. And then you have the ultimate kit. The ultimate kit comes with the SunMatch 3, all the charging, all the stuff you need. Comes with a pen light or a match pen R, so the big one. Comes with the SunMatch 3, so it comes with the one with the light on top, and it comes with the headlamp as well. So this bigger kit, I think it's $5.99. I think when you add up the stuff in this, it comes to like, I think you end up paying like 12 bucks for the case or something like that. So those are an option. Not my first option, but something you can get. I'll stock a few of those. Again, everything you see here, I'm stocking. I'll probably have these darn chargers for the end of time. But I guess if you had a bunch of these and you need some extra chargers for some reason, I guess well, I'll have that as a backup stock. But I didn't think these came with the charger, so I thought you needed to buy the charger separately. But I do have extra batteries as well. So then comes the crown jewel of the ScanGrip system, which is a totally different line, but I'm absolutely in love, and I'm missing one of the lights, so one of them hasn't come out yet. And that's the line light system, or the line light options. These are some sort of crazy acrylic. I'm not gonna do it, but when I was at SEMA, I mean, you can throw this on the ground and jump on them, but they're incredibly light. It's in the 2 or 3.5 ounce range. I mean, incredibly light. When you get this, you'll be shocked. So super stout, very lightsaber-like. This one is charged via a normal little USB type charging connection, a little micro to USB. And this is the Line Light R, the little one. I think it's 90 bucks. So the Line Light R is the small version that has a flashlight on the top, and then has, I forget how many LEDs this, I think it's 24. I should have all this stuff memorized. Yeah, the Line Light R is 16 LEDs. The Line Light C plus R is 24. So this one has two options. Overhead, good, I picked the right one. So I guess a top mount flashlight or the line light. So it has two outputs. I want to say it looks like it's about 6,500 Kelvin. They don't publish the lights, at least I can't find it anywhere, the light output. But this one here, for whatever reason, I guess it has a different battery. This one takes a lot longer to charge. I think to fully charge it takes 5 or 6 hours. But you should get 3.5 hours of time out of this thing when you're using it. But I'm telling you, just incredibly light. This thing you're going to use more than any light you've ever used in your entire life. I'm absolutely in love with this. And it's for what it is. I would think this would be like 300 or 400 bucks. It's like 90 bucks. Just frickin' buy one, I'm telling you. You won't be disappointed. This thing is amazing. Absolutely, positively in love with this. And it comes with again, ScanGrip's magnetic game is really strong. So it comes with this hook. And so the hook is usable for various things. It twists around 180-degree fashion, and so you can hook it onto stuff, whatever you can dream up. You can hook it onto something somewhere in your headliner or something like that. So that's one option. They also have, so that comes with it in the kit, but they also have an option for which is I would highly recommend, this magnetic swiveling type, where I can adjust how the light is positioned and set it up to light whatever. You could even use it as a darn desk lamp if you wanted to, which is pretty slick. So I would suggest buying the swivel mount, or whatever this thing's called. It's called a gooseneck with a magnet. They also have a magnetic holder that looks kind of like this piece here only chopped off. I'm waiting for those to come from Europe. So there's a magnetic holder option, which we'll have in the store as well, which is just a shorter version without the pliable metal gooseneck option. They do have a suction cup mount. I'm also waiting for that one too. And then comes the beauty. So this is the Limelight Bonnet C+R. This one has 48 LEDs. They also make, which I haven't gotten yet, they have a Limelight C+R. They both have the same battery. This one actually takes a much more stout connection, a much more stout charging type connection, which you could use for either charging or use. You know, so if you plugged it into an outlet, if you wanted to run it for hours and hours at a time. But these have, so the C+R and the Bonnet C+R have a bigger battery, so they have a little bit longer, they're a little longer lasting, and the bigger battery actually makes them charge quicker, and you have two light outputs, so you have a 50% and 100% output. Same acrylic, just incredible, and could really act as a lightsaber. If you're a photographer, this would be great for light painting because it's incredibly light. You could carry this with you on set. Just, I'm telling you, I'd buy each one of these, no question. I think it's 169 bucks. It's gonna cost you a few bucks to have it shipped, but this one here, this is the Bonnet version. So it comes with again, this combination is like less than 2 pounds. And it has a rubberized, whatever you want to call that, clamp to clamp onto your hood. I would still probably put a microfiber towel under there. So to make this perfect, if this was like felt or something like that, it would be awesome. But the combination of this, I have the Milwaukee light over there. This is so much better, so much lighter. I'll probably never use my Milwaukee again. As much as I love the Milwaukee version of this, this is just, the quality of this is insane. The big Bonnet version doesn't have the flashlight on top, but and this has 48 LEDs. The Limelight C+R, which we'll have in a few weeks, is a little bit shorter than this, and it has 24 LEDs and has the top mount flashlight. So the smaller version of this doesn't have the 50 and 100% output. It only has top and side. So just think of it like the Limelight R. It's the same thing, just longer. And so it has the option to go flashlight on the top or regular light here. But I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite discoveries in a long time. I'm absolutely positively in love with these. I think they're just incredible. You're gonna be seeing these a lot in videos, be talking about a lot. You know, sometimes I get a little salesy on you. This, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be pitching you hard because they're just incredible. Like when I saw it at SEMA, I was like, oh, they made me jump up and down on it. So I was literally jumping up and down on how awesome it was. So there's the ScanGrip line. They have a few other lights that I'm just not really interested in. I bought them all, tried them all, had them all, used them all from the beginning all the way to today. So I'm hopefully gonna help save you a little bit of pain and make it so that you don't end up with an iPad that's sitting on the countertop. Again, I know some of you probably use an iPad all the time. Just not my thing. I want it, I like having it, I love shopping for it, I love designing it, I love setting it up, and then I just never use it. Just like these. I love these, I love having them, I love having in the cabinet, I love lining them up, I love looking at them in there, I love charging the batteries up, but I just don't like using them. And so unless you're just a baller without a budget, I would heed my advice on these things and kind of progress. Again, we're gonna have packages. I'll have a separate video for that of the Obsessed Garage version, what I absolutely use and what I would absolutely recommend, and buy the darn line lights. So that's the ScanGrip OG lighting solutions in a nutshell. You'll be seeing this stuff more. I'll continue to upgrade as ScanGrip does. And as I learn more, you know, who knows, someday I'll say this thing is junk and something else is better. But I think that's what you're watching me for, is for that candor. You know, I can change on a dime, and you know, I get accused of that all the time. but hey, I'm just in my garage living the dream, playing with stuff that I love, and that I like to shop for new stuff just as much as you do. And so, you know, think of me as your resident insane person that you can use to fall on the sword. Buy some of these things, like buying a magnet and then deciding if the magnet's any good, because there's a trash can back there full with all kinds of cool stuff that I thought was cool that didn't turn out to be as cool as it like. So anyway, this is a good example of my good old tagline. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. I'll catch you on the next one. Make sure to check out the OG package specific video, and I'll probably make a Fenix flashlight specific video. Thanks for watching.